Welcome back to my channel, Valuable Rare Coins. If you love discovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we'll uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're exploring the incredible story behind one small but mighty coin, the United States quarter dollar featuring New Jersey, dated 1787 to 1999 with a small but important P mint mark. Now, most people look at a quarter and see 25 cents. But what if I told you that hidden among those everyday coins is one that could change your life? A coin so rare, so desirable, and so unique that collectors are willing to pay an unbelievable sum for it. Don't go anywhere, because what you're about to learn might just have you running to check your change jar. Let's begin with some context. The year is 1999. A brand new millennium is on the horizon, and the U.S. Mint decides to launch a groundbreaking initiative, the 50-State Quarters Program. This was no ordinary coin release. For the first time in history, each of the 50 U.S. states would be honored with its own quarter design, issued in the order the states joined the Union. New Jersey, the third state to ratify the Constitution, proudly took its place early in the series. And the design chosen for the New Jersey quarter was nothing short of iconic. On the reverse side, it features one of the most legendary moments in American history, General George Washington crossing the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. This wasn't just a nice picture, it was a symbol of bravery, strategy, and the determination that led to American independence. In the image, Washington leads the way as his soldiers row through icy waters, preparing to launch a surprise attack that would turn the tide of the war. Beneath the scene, the words "Crossroads of the Revolution" are etched, paying tribute to New Jersey's pivotal role in that turning point of American history. Turn the coin over and you'll find the classic bust of George Washington on the obverse, the same dignified profile that's graced the quarter for decades. But the real story lies in the finer details, the date, the condition, and that tiny mint mark. This particular version was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the P just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Millions of these coins were produced, and the vast majority of them were tossed into circulation, passed from hand to hand, spent on gas, groceries, and everyday goods. Most were scratched, worn down, and eventually forgotten. But not all of them among the millions produced. A tiny fraction have survived in pristine, untouched condition. These are the coins that never made it into circulation, carefully preserved from the day they were struck, free from the usual dings, scratches, and smudges. And even rarer still, some of these coins contain errors. That's right, mistakes made during the minting process that slipped through unnoticed and today make certain quarters worth far more than face value. Some New Jersey quarters have been found with double dies, where parts of the design appear to be stamped twice. Others show off-center strikes, where the entire image is shifted, giving the coin a strange and unique look. A few even display unusual luster or toning, caused by slight variations in the metal or striking process. These aren't flaws, they're features that collectors craved. So, how do you know if your New Jersey quarter is special? Start by inspecting it carefully. Does the image look crisp and clean, or is it soft and worn? Are the letters sharp and fully formed? Look at the edges. Do they appear even and well-defined? Check for any unusual markings, textures, or discoloration. And of course, verify that little P mint marked. If you suspect you've found something out of the ordinary, the next step is crucial. Get it professionally graded. Coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC will assess your quarter, assign it an official grade based on condition and quality, and seal it in a protective case that certifies its authenticity. This step not only protects your coin, but increases its appeal and market value tremendously. Collectors around the world are always on the hunt for rare state quarters, especially those from the early years of the program. The excitement, the nostalgia, and the rarity all combine to create serious demand. And where there's demand, there's big value. You've probably heard stories of rare pennies and dimes fetching huge prices. But quarters? Yes! Especially this one. Because now, it's time for the part you've been waiting for. Among the New Jersey quarters minted in Philadelphia in 1999, there exists a particular specimen, carefully preserved, with rare minting features, and in flawless, uncirculated condition. This coin didn't just catch a collector's eye. It caught the attention of the entire numismatic world. And when it finally went to auction, it sold for an eye-popping total of $90,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter, worth the price of a luxury car, a down payment on a house, or even a life-changing investment. Before you dismiss that loose change lying around your house, take a closer look. The next time you find a 1999 quarter with a P mint mark, especially one that looks a little too perfect, you might just be holding onto your very own piece of history and maybe even your ticket to something far bigger. Second rare coin, we're going to explore the incredible tale of a coin that millions of Americans have held in their hands without ever knowing its secret, the United States quarter dollar featuring the state of New York. Dated 1788 to 2001, with the letter P stamped right on it. Now, at first glance, this coin looks like any other quarter. You've probably spent one just like it on a cup of coffee or tossed it into a parking meter without a second thought. But there's a version of this coin that could be worth more than some luxury cars, and if you stick around to the end, we'll reveal just how much that tiny piece of metal could be worth in the right condition. Let's start at the beginning. In the year 2001, the United States Mint was in full swing with its wildly popular 50-state quarters program. The goal? To celebrate each state's unique contribution to the country by giving them a custom-designed quarter. Each design was released in the order the states joined the Union. And in 2001, it was New York's turn to shine. New York, the Empire State. A place of history, resilience, and unmatched cultural impact. The design chosen for the New York quarter was both symbolic and deeply meaningful. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see a beautifully detailed image of the Statue of Liberty standing tall and proud, with a textured outline of New York State behind her. Surrounding the design are the words "Gateway to Freedom," a powerful reminder of New York's role as the first glimpse of America for millions of immigrants arriving at Ellis Island in search of a better life. The quarter also features a series of small lines that resemble beams of light, stretching outward from the Statue of Liberty, representing the reach and influence of New York across the globe. It's a powerful and emotional design, capturing both the state's historical legacy and its global significance. Flip the coin to the obverse, and you'll find the classic profile of George Washington. It's the same design that has appeared on the front of U.S. quarters since 1932. But here's where things get interesting. Look closely, and you'll see a small letter P just next to Washington's ponytail. That P means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Millions of New York quarters were minted in Philadelphia in 2001. They were put into circulation nationwide, used in stores, given as change, and carried in wallets. But among those millions, there are a few that are anything but ordinary. Some were struck with errors, subtle, often unnoticeable mistakes that occurred during the minting process. These can include double dies, where parts of the design are slightly duplicated, off-center strikes where the image doesn't line up correctly, and coins struck on the wrong planchet, the metal disc used to make the coin. These minting errors are incredibly rare, and because they're so unusual, collectors go wild for them. Then there's the condition of the coin itself. The vast majority of quarters are circulated, meaning they've been used in everyday life. They have scratches, worn edges, and dull finishes. But some lucky coins are found in what collectors call mint state, perfectly preserved, with sharp details, bright surfaces, and no signs of wear. These are the coins that fetch top dollar, but here's the real kicker. There are a handful of 2001 New York quarters minted in Philadelphia that not only survived in flawless, uncirculated condition, but also contain extremely rare minting errors. That perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and condition has turned these coins into highly valuable collector's items. What should you look for in your own collection? First, check the date, 2001. Then, Look for the P mint mark. Examine the Statue of Liberty and the outline of New York State on the reverse. Is everything sharp and detailed? Do any parts of the image look doubled or misaligned? Is the coin perfectly centered, or does something seem off? The slightest difference could be a sign that you're holding something special. If you think you've found a coin with potential, don't guess, get it graded. Professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC will evaluate your coin's authenticity, condition, and any errors it may have. They'll seal it in a protective case and give it a grade on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. Coins that reach the highest grades, especially with known mint errors, can command huge sums at auction. You might be wondering, but what are the odds that my quarter is worth anything? Well, the odds may be slim, but they're real. And someone out there has already struck gold. In fact, one specific 2001 New York quarter minted in Philadelphia, found in near-perfect condition with an extremely rare and desirable minting error, was sold for an unbelievable amount. Not just a couple hundred. Not even a few thousand. And oh, this small, ordinary-looking coin went on to fetch a jaw-dropping total of $77,000. That's right. $77,000 for a quarter. A coin that could have been hiding in your pocket, slipped through your fingers at a laundromat, or resting quietly in your change jar for years. So, what are you waiting for? Go check your coin stash. Look through your spare change. That little piece of metal might just be the key to an unexpected fortune. Because sometimes, the most valuable treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight. Third expensive coin, we're talking about a coin that launched one of the most successful numismatic programs the United States Mint has ever created, the Delaware State Quarter, dated 1787 to 1999 with a tiny but powerful P mint mark. Now, this might look like just another quarter. You've probably seen one before, maybe even spent one without a second thought. But hold on, because hiding among these common coins is something astonishing. A rare, extraordinary version of this Delaware quarter exists, and if you have the right one in your collection, it could be worth a truly mind-blowing amount. So don't blink, because by the end of this video, you'll find out just how valuable this coin can really be. Let's rewind to 1999, a landmark year for U.S. coin collectors. That's when the U.S. Mint introduced the 50 State Quarters program, an ambitious and exciting project that aimed to honor every state in the Union with its own custom-designed quarter. These coins were released over 10 years, 5 each year, in the order that each state ratified the Constitution or was admitted into the Union. First up, Delaware, the very first state to ratify the Constitution, earning it the nickname the First State. And so, the Delaware Quarter became the debut release in this monumental series, kicking off a frenzy of collecting unlike anything the Mint had ever seen before. The design of the Delaware Quarter is nothing short of iconic. On the reverse side, you'll find a tribute to a true American hero, Caesar Rodney. Rodney was a delegate to the Continental Congress and a signer of the Declaration of Independence. The image shows him on horseback, in motion, reenacting his historic midnight ride from Dover to Philadelphia in 1776. He rode through a thunderstorm, covering 80 miles to cast a crucial vote for American independence. This scene isn't just artistic, it's a bold reminder of Delaware's role in shaping the nation. Alongside the image are the inscriptions Caesar Rodney, the First State, and of course, the dates 1787 and 1999. Flip the coin over and you'll find the familiar bust of George Washington on the obverse, just like every other quarter. But it's what lies beneath the surface, and in the details, that makes this coin so extraordinary. Minted in Philadelphia, as indicated by the P mint mark, the Delaware Quarter was produced in massive numbers. In fact, over 700 million of them were struck. That's right, hundreds of millions. But here's where things get interesting. Within those hundreds of millions, a small handful were different. Some had minting errors. Some were preserved in perfect condition. And some had both. What kind of errors, you ask? Well, collectors have discovered Delaware quarters with double die obverse, where the design appears to be slightly doubled, almost like a shadow effect. Others have seen die cracks, extra metal lines across the coin caused by worn dies. Some even show off-center strikes, where the coin design is shifted slightly away from center. These mistakes might seem small, but in the world of coin collecting, they're gold. Then there's the question of condition. Most coins were put into circulation, used in daily transactions, passed from hand to hand, worn down by time. But a select few were never spent. They were carefully preserved, stored in coin rolls, or kept as part of new collections. These pristine, untouched coins, especially those that have been professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC, can be worth far more than their face value. Now imagine this: a 1999 Delaware quarter from the Philadelphia Mint, in flawless mint state condition, with a rare and dramatic minting error. That's the kind of coin that doesn't just belong in a collection, it belongs in an auction house. And if you think finding one of these is impossible, think again. Coins like this have turned up in old collections, in coin jars, and even in circulation. The key is to look closely. If you come across a Delaware quarter with the P mint mark, take a good look at the lettering, the image, and the edges. Are the details sharp? Do you notice any doubling? Is the strike slightly off? Any of these signs could mean you're holding something very special. If you do find a coin that looks promising, the next step is to have it evaluated and graded. A high-grade, error coin version of the Delaware quarter is something that serious collectors are always looking for. These aren't just coins, they're pieces of American history, and now it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Just how valuable can a tiny 25-cent coin become? Well, one rare Delaware quarter, struck in 1999 at the Philadelphia Mint, preserved in nearly perfect condition and containing a highly sought-after error, stunned the collector community when it was sold for an incredible sum of $99,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $99,000. So before you dismiss that Delaware quarter rattling around in your change drawer, take a second look. Because what looks like pocket change could, in the right condition, be your once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Especially, let's talk about a coin that could be hiding in your change jar, your glove box, or tucked away in an old coin folder. The 2004 Wisconsin quarter from the 50 State Quarters series, minted in Denver, marked with a tiny letter D. It's easy to overlook, but it's become one of the most sought-after coins in recent history, and by the end of this video, you'll find out exactly WHY.IN 2004. The United States Mint was deep into its revolutionary 50 State Quarters program, celebrating each state with its own unique design. Wisconsin, the 30th state to join the Union back in 1848, had its chance to shine, and it did, with a design that might seem simple at first, but has since turned into one of the most mysterious and valuable in the entire series. So, what does the Wisconsin quarter look like? On the reverse side, you'll find a proud depiction of the state's agricultural heritage. At the center is a cow symbolizing Wisconsin's massive dairy industry. Next to the cow is a round of cheese, a nod to the state's famous cheese-making reputation. And right in front of that cheese is a stalk of corn, representing the state's strong farming roots. The motto, "Forward," appears just above it all, echoing Wisconsin's drive for progress and innovation. Flip the coin over and, like always, you'll see the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse, along with the mint year, 2004, and the mint mark. The D stands for Denver, where millions of these coins were struck. But here's where the story takes a wild turn. Soon after the Wisconsin quarter was released, collectors and everyday people started noticing something strange. Not all the corn stalks on the reverse looked the same. That's right. Some quarters had a small but very noticeable difference, an extra leaf on some of the coins. The stalk of corn had an additional leaf sticking out on the left side. And then, even stranger, some had an extra leaf on the right side instead. These became known as the extra leaf high and extra leaf low varieties. Now you might think, how could a tiny extra line on a corn stalk be that important? But in the coin world, small differences make a big difference. These extra leaves weren't part of the original design. They're believed to have come from a mistake or alteration made to the die, the metal stamp used to strike the coin. No one knows exactly how or why it happened. Some believe it was accidental, others think it might have been intentional. Either way, these variations slipped through and made it into circulation. What makes them so valuable is how rare they are. While millions of standard Wisconsin quarters were minted, only a small number have been found with these extra leaf errors. That rarity, combined with the intrigue surrounding how it happened, has turned them into collector gold. Now let's talk about how to spot one. Take a close look at the corn stalk on the coin. The normal version has 3 clean, distinct leaves, one pointing straight out to the left, one at the bottom, and another upward toward the right. But if you see a 4th leaf, either curling under the main leaf on the left or appearing like a short stub beneath it, you may have found that extra leaf low. If the 4th leaf appears slightly higher up, it could be the extra leaf high. Both versions are extremely collectible, and what about condition? Like with all coins, condition plays a huge role in value. A coin that's been circulated, showing signs of wear, will still be worth more than face value if it has the error. But if you find one in mint state condition, meaning it looks like it was just struck yesterday with all the details sharp and the luster still intact, then you've got something truly special. So how do you verify it? If you believe you've found one of these error coins, your best bet is to send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate the error, assign it a grade, and encapsulate it in a protective holder with an official label. This doesn't just protect your coin, it makes it much more valuable on the collector's market. Collectors around the world are always on the hunt for rare variants like this. And while the extra leaf coins have become legendary in the coin community, they've also become incredibly difficult to find. The chances of stumbling upon one in your spare change might be slim, but they're not zero. People have found them in the most unexpected places. A few eagle-eyed folks have even discovered them in coin rolls from the bank, at flea markets, or buried in old collections forgotten for years. And now for the moment you've been waiting for, the answer to the big question. Just how much could one of these rare Wisconsin quarters be worth? Well, among the known examples of the 2004 Wisconsin quarter from the Denver Mint with the extra leaf error, there are some that have achieved near-perfect condition and full certification. These coins have caused major buzz in auctions and private sales alike, and one such coin graded in top mint state condition and featuring the famous extra leaf was sold for a remarkable total of $50,000. Yes, you heard that right. $50,000 for a single quarter. So the next time you're holding a 2004 Wisconsin quarter with a D mint mark, don't dismiss it. Flip it over. Take a close look at that corn stalk. That tiny extra leaf just might be your key to an unexpected fortune. Last unique coin, we're traveling to the heart of the Midwest, Ohio. More specifically, we're exploring the United States $quarter coin featuring the Buckeye State, issued in 2002 with the historic dual date of 1803 to 2002 and the P mint mark from Philadelphia. At first glance, it might look like just another quarter in the 50-state quarters series, but this one has a twist and possibly a very big payday attached to it. Let's rewind to 2002. The U.S. Mint was full swing into one of its most successful coin programs ever, the 50-State Quarters Initiative. 5 new quarters were released each year, each one celebrating a state's unique history, culture, and contributions to the nation. It was a simple idea that turned into a cultural phenomenon. Millions of Americans began collecting quarters for the first time, watching eagerly for each new release. Ohio's quarter was released in 2002 in honor of the state's admission into the Union in 1803. But what truly makes Ohio's design special is how it pays tribute to the state's enormous role in the history of flight and space exploration. The reverse side of the coin showcases not one but 2 iconic symbols of Ohio's legacy in the skies. First, there's the famous image of the Wright Flyer, the aircraft invented and flown by Orville and Wilbur Wright in 1903. Though their historic flight took place in North Carolina, the Wright brothers were proud Ohioans, having developed their designs in Dayton. Then, Positioned above the flyer is the outline of an astronaut. That's right, Ohio has produced more astronauts than any other state, including legends like Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, and John Glenn, the first American to orbit Earth, together. These symbols reflect Ohio's unmatched influence in both the early days of aviation and the modern era of space travel. The quarter is inscribed with the words "Birthplace of Aviation Pioneers" and shows a small outline of the state itself as a backdrop to these historic achievements. On the obverse side, we see the classic portrait of George Washington, just like on every quarter since 1932. Look just to the right of his ponytail, and you'll find the P mint mark indicating that this coin was minted in Philadelphia. That tiny letter matters more than you might think. Now, you might be thinking, that's a great story, but what makes this coin valuable? And that's where things get really interesting. While hundreds of millions of Ohio quarters were produced, a select few stand apart due to a combination of rarity, condition, and minting errors. That's the magic formula in coin collecting. It's not just about age, it's about how rare a coin is, how perfect its condition is, and whether something went slightly wrong at the mint when it was made. Let's talk about errors. Some Ohio quarters from 2002 were discovered with doubled die features. That means parts of the design, usually the lettering or imagery, appear to be duplicated ever so slightly, almost like a shadow. This happens when the die strikes the coin more than once without proper alignment. It's a small difference, but it makes a huge impact. Others show off center strikes, where the coin wasn't perfectly aligned with the press, resulting in a design that's shifted to one side. And then there are coins struck on the wrong planchet entirely, meaning a quarter design appears on a coin blank that was intended for a different denomination. These are extremely rare and highly collectible. Now add to that another layer, condition. Most quarters you find in your pocket are worn, scratched, and passed through thousands of hands. But every so often, a coin escapes into the world untouched. No scratches, no wear, no fading, just a brilliant, mint-state piece of art. These are the coins that collectors crave. And when you combine that level of perfection with a rare error or a unique variety, the value can skyrocket. So, how can you tell if your Ohio quarter is special? Start with the basics. Flip the coin over and look at the right flyer and astronaut image. Are the lines sharp? Are the inscriptions clear and bold? Then look closer. Do any of the letters seem doubled? Is the strike perfectly centered? Does anything look unusual or different from a standard coin? Next, check for the P mint mark. This tells us the coin came from the Philadelphia Mint, which is key because some of the rarest Ohio quarter errors came from this very facility. If you think you've found a winner, your next step should be to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will examine your coin under high magnification, assign it a condition grade from 1 to 70, and confirm whether it contains any known errors or varieties. A coin that receives a grade of MS 67 or higher, especially if it has an error, becomes a serious contender for top dollar offers from collectors around the world. And now, it's time for the reveal. Point 1 Rare example of the Ohio State Quarter, minted in Philadelphia, preserved in nearly flawless mint state condition, and featuring a highly sought-after minting error, stunned collectors when it sold for a breathtaking amount. Yes, this one little coin, just like the ones you might find rattling in your car's cup holder or stuck at the bottom of a change jar, was sold for a jaw-dropping total of $68,000. So, before you dismiss that Ohio quarter as just another piece of pocket change, take a closer look. That tiny coin might just be your ticket to an unexpected treasure. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, mystery, and rare coin collecting, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell so you never miss the next big discovery. Until next time, keep looking, keep learning, and always check your change. You never know what it's really worth.